Welcome to this Times Techies webinar. I am Sujit John, and I have with me my colleague Shilpa Fadnis. The two of us will moderate the discussion. We hope you and your families are staying safe and doing well. Our discussion today is in association with Xebia, the global technology strategy and consulting firm. And it's on decoding technology innovations for a larger audience through blogging. It's the first time Times Techies is holding a discussion on blogging. I don't recollect, we haven't even written a story yet on blogging. I'm surprised we didn't think about it. We should have. Blogging can be a really good brand builder for techies. And Xebia is holding the first ever blogathon. They are doing it in partnership with Microsoft and GitHub. The blogathon begins today, and we'll hear a lot more about it during this discussion. Today, we have with us Anand Sahay. Anand is CEO and co-founder of Xebia Global Services. Every day, he's focused on helping business leaders solve critical problems, as well as run the company. In his career, he has been exposed to a diverse range of organizations, functional groups, and cultures. Prior to Xebia, Anand was with Interglobe, HCL Technologies, Samsung SDS, and TCS. Welcome, Anand.
Thank you.
We have Rajat Gupta. Rajat is the Chief Digital Officer at Xebia. He has a proven record of conceptualizing and developing innovative digital products from scratch and building high-performing teams with an innovative DNA. Prior to Xebia, Rajat was with Yes Bank and Arisent. Welcome, Rajat.
Thanks, Sujit.
I have Norman Sequeira. Norman is Director Cloud Solution Architect at Microsoft. He has over 21 years of experience in Microsoft across the consulting and Azure Cloud Solution Architect team and has worked with customers in IT, retail, startup sectors to build scalable enterprise applications leveraging Microsoft technologies. Welcome, Norman.
Thanks, Shilpa. Good evening, everyone.
And we have Gandhali Samant. Gandhali works at GitHub, where she leads the developer ecosystem and market engagement charter. She has spent over 20 years in IT across MNCs in India and abroad. Prior to GitHub, she spent 8 years at Microsoft, where her last role being an engineering leader focused on strategic customers across Europe and Asia. Welcome, Gandhali.
Thank you.
Those of you doing this, then send in questions to the Facebook comment box. Sujit and I will put them to Anand, Rajat, Norman, and Gandhali. Let me start coming to you, Anand and Rajat. What inspired Xebia to organize this blogathon? Can you please share your thoughts on this?
Well, maybe I can take it first, Rajat.
Sure.
Yes. So, we co-founded this company in Netherlands in 2001. So pretty much very early when we were setting up the mission and the values of the company, knowledge sharing, was one of the values we set up, at that time. And it actually meant a lot, right? I mean, when you say that your company will have a value of knowledge sharing means you have to figure out, whatever you learn from the industry, how you also disseminate and share amongst everyone. So today in all over the world where Xebia is, almost every region and offices, every other week, all the techies come together and actually spend time sharing what they learned. It's something which is almost institutionalized in the firm. Obviously, with pandemic, it went virtual, but continued to happen all along. So for us, it's nothing new why we are doing it. We've been into this world of publishing books to writing, committing on open source all along. And, blog is, if you all see, a very common way for techies, and a lot of techies are also a bit shy. So it has always been a very common thing for good techies to really let out their creative juices through blogging. So clearly, blogathon seems to be a very good platform.
Do you yourself blog, Anand?
I do it in the company, not on tech, but experiences of running the company, I blog internally.
Okay. You have a platform, your blogging platform yourself.
On the intranet, yes. On the intranet, yeah.
Okay. Rajat?
Yeah, so I think just to add on to what Anand has said, as Xebia, we have that, ethos of knowledge sharing. So we've been contributing in open source. We've been speaking at, various events such as the KubeCon. We've been holding various community events where we do try to bring the people who not only basically look at what current technology is, but want to take that technology ahead together. That's the intent with which we actually operate. And I think this is a great initiative, as Anand was saying, for getting the right set of people and giving them a platform to express themselves. So I think that's what I feel.
Okay. Norman and Gandhali, wanted to ask you, I mean, what was the reason for you to participate in this, to partner with Xebia on this? Norman, you want to go?
Yeah, sure, Sujit. Right. So it's been a priority at Microsoft to empower more people to unleash their potential. That's been a part of our core mission and values. We are absolutely delighted to partner with Xebia here for the Blogathon. The idea out here is to provide an opportunity to developers and IT professionals to learn more about Microsoft's path-breaking technologies and also empower them to think about innovative solutions which could actually help building India of tomorrow. So that's what we're looking at from this platform.
Okay. Gandhali?
Sujit, as you know, GitHub, when you hear the word GitHub, the first thing that comes to your mind is developers, right? It's like a synonym. So GitHub is a platform where we have 73 million plus developers who code and collaborate every day. And we have many ways to recognize their coding contributions. We do it through the platform, we do it through different programs. But when this opportunity came, we realized that this is an opportunity for us to recognize the talent and the skills these developers put into documenting their journeys and documenting their technical learnings, which will be very helpful for the community who is following them, right? So I think that was the main, I would say, reason for us to come and partner here to just celebrate that developer journeys and, encourage that talent.
Okay, and you'll find a lot of people who, in the amount of blogging that happens among people who participate in GitHub, or what is the sense you have?
I don't think a lot of people from a developer's perspective, right? They are more, I would say, comfortable writing code than actually going and writing blogging. So that's the reason I thought this would be a really good way to encourage those developers to, come and blog and share their technical learnings.
Okay. And why blogs? Why not something else? That's for all of you. Any of you want to pick that up?
Yeah, maybe, very early on, I think any techie or anyone who wants to learn something, even by Googling or anything, I think what you first go is Google a topic and potentially somebody's blog is going to show up. So I think it's a common way most of the people are beginning to, learn about anything. And also from the perspective of people who blog, I think anybody, it's a very low effort. You don't need a lot of things to do. You can basically, if you have an idea or you want to express yourself, you can simply go and write it. And a lot of evangelists worldwide or top techies, I mean, if you really want to know what they are doing, is through blogs. Mm-hmm. So I think it's the best way currently.
Yeah.
I would like to add on this. So I have been a developer for say 20 odd years, and I have seen people going through that journey, like, right from a college hire to an entry level developer to a mid stage to an experienced developer. So blogging can be a great way of documenting that growth, and it can also validate what you are learning, because when you write a blog, people come, they read it, they use it, they might come and give you feedback that, this didn't work for me or this worked really well for me. I think that feedback loop is really good for a developer's learning, and obviously it just helps the community. But I think from developers' perspective, that's why blogging should be there as a part of their journey.
Okay.
Yeah. I think for technical writing and architecture, it's blogs that have always worked well across the years. The strange thing though right now is while videos are getting shorter, we actually see interest levels in, let's say, writing and actually threads becoming longer, right?
Really? That's interesting. Okay.
It's amazing to see the long threads that people have started writing on Twitter, right? So I think the interest levels in at least the written form, that's increasing a lot more. And purely, if you look at it, the whole act of actually putting pen to paper, even if it's the virtual kind, I think it does help build clarity and thoughts about the subject. So it definitely will help each and every one of us in terms of trying to formulate our thoughts.
Oh, that's so good to hear. For Shilpa and me, we thought our jobs were dead. But I think that, videos we thought were the in thing now. But yeah, you have a point. What you said, Twitter, so many long threads nowadays, and You are saying blogs also people are writing a lot. I mean, longer and longer forms. Oh, wonderful.
And it's a very low friction platform, right? So, you don't really need to basically abide by certain rules. You can just write about your experience on how, let's, for example, you made certain choices. So because of the low barriers to entry, I think more and more people do get encouraged. It's much easy to just, express yourselves on a blog compared to any other channel.
Okay. But when there's a sea of blogs, how do you ensure that people see what you write? I mean, do you have to advertise yourself in social media and all that? How does that work, Gandhali?
So there are many ways. I think, yes, tweeting it or put it on LinkedIn, on social media is important. Also important is your network, like who are the people who are following you on social media. That is very important. I think there are certain keywords, and blog writing is also an art that, say, for example, you are writing about Kubernetes. You have to make sure there are certain words that get addressed, and that will help, your search. Bring your blog up in the searches. And there are specific times that people put the blogs out so that they get maximum reads. So there are a lot of, I would say there is a lot of technicality around the bloggers who do it very regularly and well. They have it like a formula, how they do
Really?
it. Heard it from my friend. Yeah.
Okay, we'll come back to that later if you have the time. I really want to understand from you what are the best times and all of that. Let's see. Shilpa?
Yeah, coming to you, Norman, and others can also chime in. Post-COVID, do you see a lot of people taking on to blog writing, especially when teams are working virtually, right? They're building solutions virtually in a hybrid, remote way. So if you can share your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think if I look at from a consumption perspective, I think what's happened is with all the tooling, with the notes these days, we're glued to a screen all the time, right? Whether it's your phone or whether it's your computer. From a consumption perspective, we already have figured out a way to get our favorites, links being shared from the computer to the phone and vice versa. So consumption, we've got it worked out. A long form article, I can just resume from my PC or my phone where I left off. From the creation perspective, as I said, right, I think writing does help block out external distractions. I mean, our attention spans have actually got smaller. The act of actually writing will help you structure your thoughts a lot more better, keep out the whole doom scrolling that we keep on doing in COVID times, right? And focus on the tech at hand, see as to how it's actually going to add value to the reader.
Anand, Rajat, you want to add to that?
Well, yeah, I think the more people sat at home and, a lot of things which you were used to doing, going to a community where, your tech community where you go over the weekend or everything, that also got reduced. I think quite a lot of people took to blogs, added, I mean, those who were not doing it. I mean, I know a lot of good techies who would love to meet over an evening or something and talk about tech, but not were into writing. But now they're also beginning to go towards blogging.
Okay. Oh, very interesting. So what will this platform enable? So you created a platform for this for Blogathon, is it, Anand?
Yeah. So the whole idea, is to basically support this whole initiative in a more structured manner of promoting, enabling a community around this, encouraging young ones to do it. I mean, as it is, there are many, but I think there are still a lot can be done, especially in the student community, where you can ask them to start early. I think blogging is also an art. If you pick up early, it sort of gets only better. So, I mean, our idea is that this knowledge sharing as an idea really picks up, and more, availability and, I mean, our idea not only to enable this platform, but take it forward and see how we can attract more people to it through various means. So that's what I see, what we want to do.
Okay. And it'll be for 3 different segments. There's students, there's IT developers, and for IT leaders generally, is it?
Techno domain kind of folks.
And what is the reason why did you split it into these 3 parts, and what is the relevance for each segment?
So I'll take that up.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, if you look at the three segments, each of them have a big role to play. Look at the student segment. Now, there are two things that we really wanted to address there. We feel that segment has a lot of ideas. That is the age group when you are imagining more often than not, what can be out there. So we wanted that to probably come out. Also, we've seen that, a lot of students need a medium to be able to express themselves, right? And probably this might be a good introduction for them to get into the art of software as a craftsmanship rather than, just coding. And, just carrying over from, what Gandhali said. If you look at the tech professionals, what does the code in GitHub tell? This is the solution. What it does not tell is the story towards that solution. How did they arrive? What technology choices did they have? Why did they make a certain decision? What went behind coming up with the final code, which is there? Blogs help these, tech professionals write their experiences. And I think the journey of taking decision making is far more comprehensive and enriching than the final output, in my opinion. As a reader, at least, I get more enriched by how decision making happened rather than the final output. And if you look at the third segment, which is the industry professionals, now I feel innovation is just not new technology, but how that technology is put to use to actually solve and come up with brilliant ideas. So we're looking at industry professionals to basically share their ideas, how they've actually taken that technology and built something so innovative and so unique, which has been a game changer for them in the industry. So, we thought that there is something that each of them really need to contribute, and hence, these three segments.
Okay. Norman, Gandhali, what developers, is that? I'm not sure. When I think of blogging, I normally think of that, huh?
Yeah, what we're looking at from the whole blogathon here is, we would love to see some innovative ideas and usage of all the Azure services that we have there, right? And we'd like to see people push boundaries, challenge it, and try and figure out how best they can actually leverage our services for building a great solution. We'd love to hear from the entire community.
I would just add that I would love to see the blogs coming from all these communities, because the trends that we are seeing nowadays, right, especially because we work a lot with open source projects and such, there are a lot of students who are very, very active, in blogging, creating content, in writing code. So I don't think it is going to be restricted to IT professionals or software developers. I think we will probably see a lot of it coming from students and techno-functional guys as well, because that's a trend that we are seeing. More and more students are very aware of all these things that are happening around them and where they could participate.
Okay. Anand, what do you blog on? As an IT, you're a techno-functional leader.
So what I learned, and I took up blogging a little late. As I said, the early you pick up, the better you are.
Okay.
I think currently my focus is, challenging the company. We have over 4,000 people worldwide. So challenging them on a certain issue. It could be on the tech side. Where should we go from here? Right to, what organization structure we should be using. So I usually challenge people in that, write some of my ideas and then challenge people. And I'm very surprised the amount of critical comments I get over it.
Okay. So what are the tricks of the trade? What do you think works best? We already have a question asking that somewhat a similar question. How do I promote a blog, which is what I was asking Gandhali earlier. But let's get this out of the way. Tricks of the trade. How do you ensure that people read your blog? Anand, which ones have you in the most read? And why do you think that
I do it on the intranet? So I think the whole company at least reads it. I think Gandhali can tell us what other tricks are there. Maybe I'll learn a few.
Okay. Gandhali, go ahead. There is actually a question from Anusha Seturaman asking, what's the best way to promote a blog? But also the writing part of it. How do you ensure, in journalism, for instance, one of the, it has to be a relevant topic. If it is a recent event and you're writing about it, of course, the chance of somebody reading it is higher. What are the...
So first of all, disclaimer, I have been a very irregular blogger. I have written a lot, detailed blogs, nice technical blogs, but irregularly. That's why I respect a lot the people who do it regularly. But I have seen some good practices around me in my colleagues and such, right? So your topic has to be catchy. I mean, it has to be a technical solution, or it has to be something that will interest people. It has to be a genuine thing rather than just picking up something because you want to write a blog a day. I think that doesn't work. I also feel that many times if you have a longer topic, breaking it over in part 1, part 2, part 3 works, because the people who have read part 1, they will probably follow you. And if your blog is interesting, they will follow you, and then they will get notified when you do part 2. And that way you will build your followership. Okay. And I think it's steady practice. I have seen great bloggers doing it very, very steadily with good content. It doesn't have to be one blog a month or one blog a week. It has to be a blog which really gives something to the reader. And there is a community. Obviously, there are people who follow different kind of blogs, so you have to know. And as I said, it's a time-based thing. Topic is very important, and how diligently you do it, how truly you do it, will make the difference.
Okay. Norman, you have some ideas on this?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Second as to what Gandhali said. I think in addition to, let's say, having the habit of blogging, it's also essential, especially in this evolving world of services, capabilities being released online, that you actually go back and update your blog to say, oh, this is what I did 6 months to a year back was the best way at that particular point in time. But now this is the update. This is the best way to do it, right? And people who come to that blog 6 months, a year down the line will value the fact that you've actually gone back, updated your recommendations, and now saying your best practices are actually evolving. So it's absolutely critical that we actually go back and update the technical blogs that we actually put out.
Okay. Rajat, you have anything on this?
Well, I think Gandhali and Norman covered it very well. So,
Okay. Shilpa?
Anand, coming to you, if you can talk about how Xebia's community efforts are shaping up, especially in building domain experts, evangelists in the technology space.
So, from our perspective, I mean, as I said, knowledge sharing is a value. So supporting communities, creating communities is fundamental. So, almost everything we do, obviously we evolved from a very tech-oriented engineering firm, which we are into also bringing domain. When we thought how to bring it together, we even created community there. So now, we are trying to bring people to talk about, okay, if you worked on a program, tech project on a banking, for example, then please talk about what really you solved in context to a bank. Right. So we've been really promoting that part. So, and I have a feeling that the more people write about an industry problem and its relevance to solving it, I think the number of people who follow that is also very high. So that's what we are doing. And a lot of times it turns out to be where we get questions from the community from somewhere in the world asking that somebody wrote about problem being solved like this in a bank, would like to talk to that person. Which is a very, very pleasant surprise. That's what we are doing here.
Okay. Rajat?
Yeah, so, for us, community is, something that we really strive on. Look at it from this perspective. All the greatest technologies of the last decade are a result of actually community efforts. Now, whether you talk about, a Hadoop or a Spark for data processing, or you talk about a Kubernetes or a service mesh, powering today pretty much every containerized application, or you talk about, TensorFlow powering machine learning, right? All of them are largely, very, very highly community active projects, where a lot of, like-minded people have come and contributed to make these projects what they are. So we really feel community is very important because the way I look at it, it really helps you democratize technology. Today, technology is so much accessible to so many kind of people, and that's something that community really provides. Another thing that I really feel is communities also help you channel your thoughts in not exactly what is out there, but what is also missing, right? So in order to take a software and let's say deploy it in an enterprise, what is missing? So there's a lot of active work that actually goes in making a software enterprise ready by identifying those gaps contributing to that. And I think that's a very, very important area to address. So, this is where, I feel communities are, very important. And, we as Xebia are even going to come up, in February with another event called Zone, where we actually trying to start up with, DevOps, GitOps, and the whole paradigm around Kubernetes to bring the right-minded people and say, how do we make this, industry standard as a practice? So there's a lot of work that, we're doing around that space.
Gandhali, communities is big for you, no? I remember this in the early days of open source. I wasn't even sure what open source actually meant at that time. I mean, those open source guys sounded like communists at that time. I mean, they were so passionate about the whole thing against the proprietary guys and all of that. I mean, it was such a powerful community in some sense.
All has changed, Sujit. The lines blurred. It's a very different world today. So as you know, GitHub is the home of open source. That's where the open source grows, and the largest, I would say the repository of all the open source repositories is on GitHub. But what fuels the open source development are two things. One is community, and other is collaboration. So that is what fuels this whole open source development. Like people who come to these projects every day, they contribute, they maintain these projects, they create bug fixes. They are the ones who actually drive the growth as well as the direction of the project and make it more and more relevant. And when you look at from enterprise side, right, you wouldn't believe, but the surveys which have been done by big names, they have indicated that more than 90% organizations, enterprise organizations, use open source in some form. So whatever you said, right, that open source mentality and enterprise mentality, that doesn't exist anymore. In fact, what is missing right now, and I have seen this trend coming through, is enterprises, like big names in industry, being more interested in how do we do open source, how do we create the guidelines about contributing to open source, about consuming open source. That is really big, and I think that is what is right now missing. So if you look at India market, right, India has been always a big consumer of open source, not a great contributor going back. That trend has changed. We have got some really cool projects like Hopscotch, Hasura, GlusterFS. They are all built in India projects, and they are global now. And now this, you will see the Indian developers are contributing more and more to open source. I think what we need to look at here is how this awareness continues, like what are these different projects, where we go and contribute, as well as from the employer's perspective, like what their employees can do, what are the guidelines around it. I think these are the things that are missing, but I'm really happy to see in the world around me that there is a recognition that we need to do something about it, and we need to kind of formalize and give people, developers, this freedom to go and contribute to open source. So I think the lines have completely blurred now. Open source.
Okay. But within, if there's a Kubernetes community and there's a competition to Kubernetes and all that world, each one is very passionate about their project and all that. Huh?
They will be, and if you look at open source, there will be a Ruby on Rails community, there will be a Python community, there will be specific projects, and even, and it is, many of it is for like public good. Like we were talking about COVID. You guys have seen COVID-19India.org. That's completely GitHub. Corona, Corona Safe. I mean, these are the projects which happened when COVID had hit India, and people really just came together to solve a problem. Like, in the start, we used to see this worldometer coronavirus and see all the US numbers. 3 months later, we started, first thing what we started watching, COVID-19India.org. And that came from India. So that's the kind of, work that is happening in India today.
Okay. Norman?
I think just adding to the collaboration point that Gandhali mentioned, right? I think it's great to see the open source collaboration or the collaborative experience that people do on GitHub, that's spilling over to enterprises. So much so that there is this inner source initiative that most enterprises are actually driving, where the idea is, I mean, I might have projects, but then I could have people scattered all over the globe which are part of my company who would like to contribute, right? So that collaborative experience is now actually spilling over and driving more innovation within the enterprises.
Okay. No, it's so nice to hear that. So Anand, what's the plan? Is this going to be a one-time event, or are you going to carry it forward in subsequent years?
No, I mean, my intent is to carry on. I mean, if you look at from Xebia perspective, there are many conferences. I mean, in India, we have Agile NCR. It's been going on for 12 years now. So idea is to take it forward. We might have to experiment a bit, how it goes, what are the best things we can do to tweak it. You always have to, but the intent is to go long haul for sure.
Okay. So Rajat, all the details are there on your website, is it? Starts today, goes on, what 15th is the last date for registrations and all that?
Yes, that's correct. All details are there.
And 25th is the last date for. Okay. And then what do people, they make the submissions on your portal, is it? Where do everything happens on one portal? How does it happen?
Yeah. There's a platform, and that's
Okay.
the platform.
Okay. Shilpa?
We have this question from Manjunath GM. When you're writing blogs for a tech audience, where do you draw a line and how much of jargon would you use?
Okay. Probably I'll start with that. Very tough to draw that line. I think the best blogs that I have read are people who are able to simplify technology. First of all, your technology has to convey the story. And that story has to be something that anybody should be able to appreciate. There are blogs which just straight away get into the technology as if, they're not meant for everyone. But a good blog, even if it is meant for techies, does try to explain about the problem statement that is, and then move into the details of it. I think that's something that, I feel that every blog needs to carry. So that's for me is very, very crucial.
Who else wants to take that?
I mean, even if you're using jargon, if you're actually using, let's say, a lot of technical terms, we're all talking about collaboration, right? So it's just a case of the blogger actually, adding a hyperlink back to a great blog that he might have read about, which talks about that particular topic, right? I mean, you're talking about collaboration. Let's build that and do that. Absolutely, it works, no problem.
I think I would like to add that every blog or every topic will have its own followers, right? You can't always cater to all the audiences.
Okay.
There are topics which are suited for audiences who are at say entry level, and you have to make them simple. But if you're really talking about something really complex problem that you have solved, you will simplify it, but the technical words are unavoidable. And then you have to also think about the target audience who is going to really be interested in that blog, right? They will be the people who are working on those technologies. So I think that is something we have to really see, that it is not really possible to make a generic blog which will be liked by everybody. You have to stay true to what you are doing and what is your topic, and just follow that.
Is it a good idea to mix the two, Gandhali? Like Rajat said, simplify things. But like you said, I mean, in certain cases, it may not make sense. For the real experts, it might actually make sense to use a lot of jargon and all that. Does it make sense to try to cater to different audiences, or try and keep your audience the same?
Jargons are avoidable. Okay. So I agree with Rajat that you have to simplify it. But technical terms, you can't. So if you are writing about a complex problem, say, how did you use a particular technology to solve a problem, you can't keep explaining every term, right? Because there you will you will take this that, okay, the people who are going to read this blog are already going to know, say, about Azure, right? If you're, again, I'll take the Azure example here, Norman, that if you're writing about Kubernetes, you are going to know that they have to know what are containers. You can't start at that level. So that's what I was trying to see, that every blog will have an audience at a certain level, and you have to maintain that. You don't need to add jargons to it, but you don't always have to explain every bit of it.
Okay, but ideally you should keep your audience roughly catered to the same audience, is it?
That's something that I agree. Yes, and see, what I'm seeing as a trend is more often than not, a lot of blogs are being written in part in series. So you start off by in various series or in parts, So you just don't write one thing about a topic. So you write it in parts, and you basically introduce the problem so that there are certain people who just want to understand. Okay, yeah, that's where I drop off, and then you continue with the more technical details later for the more the people that who really need to understand the internals. So there is way to structure those things as well. And I've seen brilliant blogs being written with that ethos in mind, and that way it just the flow is very, very neat. So, but yeah, it's an art, I believe.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, Shilpa.
Yeah. Gandhali, coming to you, based on your experience working with enterprises and communities, you see several of them more open to, collaborating on open source technologies, right? So what has been your experience on GitHub? How open are they even to, send some of their developers to participate in some of the projects?
So, Shilpa, I think I tried to answer it in earlier question, and Norman also talked about inner source. So these two concepts, one is what they call OSPO, Open Source Program Office. That is becoming of really interest to large enterprises. Like they are coming and asking entities like GitHub, how do you do open source? How do you, let people from your organization contribute to open source? What are the guidelines around it? How do you capture the data? How do you know that you are recognizing the people? So I think what we are also doing is working with these customers to help them kind of structure their open source program so that their employees have a clear guidelines about how they can contribute, which will actually remove some of the hesitancies that developer have, in going and contributing. I think one more, trend that I'm seeing is these open source contributions are becoming a tech resume. So I was talking to, I think, Anand some time back, and he concurred with me. I was telling him that, from last few years, if people add their GitHub link, their GitHub account handle to their resume, the first thing I go and check that account and I see what kind of contributions they have done rather than reading their resume. So the way you have your professional profile on LinkedIn, you have your technical profile now on GitHub README files, and that gives a really good view into what kind of developer you are, how good you are, what skills you have, everything. So I think that is another trend that we are seeing, emerging very, very strongly, that how this technical contribution become a part of your resume. And third thing, I will just add one thing is students are embracing open source. Some of the biggest, very large open source projects, the maintainers, the contributors are students. So that's another trend. You will see less people from, my age group doing these works than you will see the younger generation. So I think that's a very, very encouraging trend from open source perspective. Thanks.
Rajat, same thing to you. I mean, in terms of your work with communities and enterprises and all that, what are some technology trends?
Okay. So let me not talk about the pretty obvious ones, which are, cloud, data, AI. I think, everybody's been talking about that for the last decade or so. So let me give you my perspectives. Today, when I see a lot of trends, I think if you talk about AI, I look at the explainability and the ethics around AI becoming a very important, right? Earlier, AI was, and let me just take a 30-second time to explain what I mean by that. Earlier, AI was largely considered as a black box, which you just take a decision in, but that's no longer acceptable, right? Because there are biases, there are problems with AI. And more often than not, you don't want to be in a situation where, you have a reputational loss. So today, it's very important to understand how has that AI arrived at that decision? Can I explain the AI model that I've done so as to understand, is there a bias in it, whether that needs to be? So I think that's a big area of research, of contribution that is happening. It's a big trend now. I see a lot of product companies working to make their AI platforms have explainability. So that's something that I would feel. Another trend that I really see is picking up is basically the whole conversational capabilities. Earlier you had menu-based, web-based platforms. Now conversational as a medium to actually interact with your data is becoming something that I really see as a very powerful modicum. Now, whether that's voice, whether that's text, with a lot of intelligence behind it, that's another trend that I really see. Let me talk about data. So again, there are so many databases. Typically, the world has been relational databases, NoSQL databases. Now I see graph databases gaining a lot of traction. and use cases which were earlier being powered by the other kind of databases, being powered now by graph databases, be it search, be it knowledge graph implementations. So I think, adoption and, usage of graph databases is another big technology trend. Probably I'll just end it by saying Kubernetes. It's for me the new cloud API.
Sorry, what is it? What is it? Sorry?
Kubernetes. It's the new cloud API. I think it's a cloud within a cloud. So you are actually, whatever you were doing in the cloud infra space is now happening in the Kubernetes space. But the interesting part is there is so much around Kubernetes on, how do you secure Kubernetes? How do you apply policies around Kubernetes? How do you actually take the entire Kubernetes deployment as close to the developer as possible? So, that's, I think, another, huge trend and active area that I actually see emerging to just make Kubernetes much more enterprise and much more useful, right? Interesting trend that, I was having a discussion with Anand some time back was the whole concept of metaverse. We're very fascinated by that. Yes. Great area to basically explore and see, what will come out of that. So yes, that's another new trend that has come up, and knowing, the kind of community already active behind it, could be a big trend.
Yeah, Microsoft is, of course, also talking a lot about that. Conversational as well. Yeah. Well, when will this conversational thing, what Shilpa and I still struggle with this whole conversational transcribing interviews. The tools are still not good enough. There's a lot of manual effort still required to kind of clean up all the, we're hoping those tools will become a lot more perfect. Well, are there very good tools? Well, I don't know whether we have to pay for it or whatever. Or are there still, Norman, what do you know about these transcription tools and all that?
Right. So, speech to text, especially we've got, so when you actually, let's say the primary collaboration tool that we use, Teams, right? You actually finish off your entire call that you did, and you actually have a speech to text done of the entire conversation with speaker attribution. So you exactly know what speaker spoke, what line in that particular stuff. We've done that. We're actually increasing the number of Indian languages that we actually support. So that's also on the increase there. Yeah, we're getting there, and the tools are actually getting smarter there.
Okay. Anand, what? Xebia as a company, you work on all these fronts and digitally transform your customers, is it?
Yeah, I think that's the core of it. A lot of things which Rajat talked about are some of the areas of work which we are doing. And interestingly, he brought up this metaverse discussion because this is becoming intense. Interestingly, I have a meeting, Norman, tomorrow with the Microsoft folks on the mesh. The mesh which has come through, and there are, interestingly, the more you know about metaverse, the more you find the things you can use what is already available for a lot of your own company things. For example, I'm looking at, can we use mesh to do virtual onboardings, which is becoming a problem. So a lot of things are really becoming relevant. Sometimes it's difficult to imagine it fully, but something is out there.
Yeah, that's what I also struggle with. I'm not fully able to visualize some of these things. But what you do is you need those glasses or whatever, those Oculus kind of stuff, or
there are ways right now to do it on the PC. Without really, it almost like if Second Life, the way it was, still on PC. But then I can easily imagine it happening once we have Oculus and everything very normal and common. I imagine people will go there. I recently bought Oculus just to play with it. So I think a lot of younger ones would be really going after it.
Okay. And what Xebia has, what kind of presence in India now?
We are now in 5 locations in India, basically all the metro cities, and also Hyderabad and Jaipur, from where we work in India. Over about 2,500 folks.
Okay, but the customers are obviously all global.
Yeah, correct. Customer base is outside.
And the big focus for the customers right now is what?
I think digitization. Talk about data, talk about cloud. Cloud is not exactly as easy as it seems. You have to redo the application sometime. So quite a lot of intense work with respect to digital transformation part, sometimes you have to rethink the whole process of how companies are working. So that's the area where we have, positioned ourselves.
Okay. Yeah, moving to the cloud. Yeah, people say even security and all that, even though the
All
cloud.
comes with it. All are part of it now. You can't speak in two different things. It's all together.
Okay.
That's where you need your DevSecOps practices perfected.
Correct.
Yes.
You need GitHub.
There, Gandhali brings in GitHub again. Shilpa?
Yeah, we have this question from Vani Chaudhary. Are there any copyright issues when writing about proprietary technologies?
I'll say Gandhali, maybe.
I don't know. Who's the right person here for this? Who will know?
I don't think it should be. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Norman or Gandhali, but if you are writing about something where proprietary,
I don't think.
Because
Right.
you are a user of that technology. You are not going to know any inner workings. Like,
correct.
writing on, say, GitHub or Azure, it's like somebody from those companies, if they're writing about something that is happening internal, it's a different thing. Or if you write something about what your company is doing as a product, I think that's a problem area. But if you're just writing about a technology that you use, I don't really see any issue. I don't know, Norman, you might have a better answer.
No, I absolutely concur with you, actually. I mean, you are meant to use the technology, so we'll definitely encourage you to write about the way you're using the technology, right? All the inner workings should not be exposed to the end users, and that's the way to stay. So,
Okay. I have Reema Khanna asking, for someone who has never blogged before, where do I start and what platform should I choose? Of course, you can start with the Xebia platform now. That's a good place to start off. But Gandhali, tell me, I mean, what? Of course, GitHub would be another. So where for someone who has never blogged before, what is your suggestion?
I think any platform would do. I mean, there are many good blogging platforms. Like when I used to blog, I used to do MSDN, and I think Norman would have done the similar. We used to have a lot of following on MSDN, and then now we have Medium, now we have Xebia. So I think platform is just I would say a medium. Okay, I think where you start is in your head. Like, what do you want to blog about? I think that's the point you want to start with. It doesn't matter where you start, because there will be users, and I'm sure every platform will have integrations to all the social media channels, right? So you can go make it visible to social media from any platform. I think it starts with what do you want to blog about, at least for me.
Okay. And sometimes the different platforms have different audiences, different kinds of audience, or not really.
There are platforms where you will find topics of every kind, and then there are platforms which are very, very technology focused. So again, who's your audience? What do you want to blog about? That will make that decision.
Okay. Reema, you can start with the Xebia competition. So,
yes, I'd love to see your entry.
Absolutely. Shilpa?
Anand and Rajat, in terms of celebrating contributors, right? There are several digital badges that companies come out with. Are you looking at introducing some of those because you started Blogathon afresh now?
So for example, we do quite a lot of collaboration with universities where we teach, quite a lot of technology to various universities, and we do give batches. I don't see why we can't bring it here. I don't know if it has been thought through completely on this side. Maybe Rajat can speak if he knows about it, but I don't see why not, if that, but for all practical purposes, I mean, we are going to make sure that the right ones, the people who are blogging are getting all the opportunities, right from, a time with us, internship with us, to, we are even open if there's a great idea which we can fund to make it see the light of the day. We are totally open for that. I mean, obviously I hear that there are a lot of other vouchers and other things which are obviously there, but the fact remains that the good ones, we just don't want to give them a voucher. We want to move it ahead and see if we can really make something out of it.
Rajat, what topics would you suggest for students to write on?
Right. So while I think officially there is a list of topics that we provided, what students can write on, but I can quickly kind of give a summary or what are the things that we'd encourage them to do. So for example, we're talking about, we'd like to hear from students, what's active in their communities. What are the students excited? Because, what they're excited might become the future things of the future. So what tools, what DevOps technologies are something that they are, excited about. That could be a topic. We'd like the students to, basically explain to us how, let's say, the open source, the cloud, have actually allowed them bring this technology and help them in their projects. When I was doing my engineering, it was just not possible for me to leverage any of the technology in my project. Those were those times. But now you can spin up Azure clusters, you can set up a AKS in a click of a button, you can deploy your services, you can actually try out everything. So the idea of true democratization and how they are now using these technologies in their projects is something that we're very excited to learn about. I will really encourage students to write about use cases because they have very creative minds. How do they think certain technologies can help? Now that could be something like a blockchain. That could be how they see something, let's say AI. There's so much that AI can still do. We'll be happy to look at that. Metaverse, we're just talking about that. What are the use cases of metaverse according to them? What can metaverse do in various ways? So a bunch of topics for students to get excited about.
Okay. For IT leaders, do you have any suggestions?
I think I'll maybe tie this back to the trends that you were asking about, Rajat, right? So some of the trends that we see evolving right now are around edge computing. We're seeing a lot of serverless. We're seeing a lot of low-code application development that's happening, right? So in terms of having devices everywhere which are continually feeding information, we're having a lot of analysis, contextually aware devices which are actually processing and giving real-time insights. We're seeing a lot of edge computing stuff. Then in terms of serverless, we've done the cloud, right? We've enabled users to actually deploy their application on the cloud. We're now trying to make that a lot more easier by giving them serverless options across whether it's database, whether it's compute, whether it's writing workflow applications. So we have all of that. We are seeing a tremendous growth in let's say low-code, no-code platform usage. I mean, I think overall in terms of applications, I believe the apps that are going to be written over the next 3-4 years are going to surpass everything that's been written across the last 30-40 years. That's the scale at which we're looking at applications being built. So the blog topics that we've looked at for the IT pros to look at is in terms of actually building scalable, containerized applications, leveraging serverless, and using low-code, no-code platforms to be actually able to build compelling enterprise applications.
Okay. So these would be suggestions also for what in terms of writing. These are things that
we would love to see what the bloggers how they're actually looking at the Azure services on offer and how to make a good use of the services being offered here. Okay.
Gandhali, you want to add to that for developers?
Sure. So the topic that I think we have suggested is GitHub Actions. So I'll just take like 10 seconds on it. It's a feature which makes it very, very easy to automate all your software development workflows. It is a world-class CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous deployment process, which lets you build, test, deploy all your code right from your GitHub account. But it also makes all your, say, code reviews, branch management, all that work is automated. I think what we are looking at is when we work with customers, right, we have seen some really innovative use cases that customers are using these actions for. Very, very innovative. That I don't think we had even thought that actions could be for all these things. We have even seen employees within GitHub doing the same. So I think that's the reason we took it as a topic for this blogathon, because it's the feature that has grown tremendously in last 2 years, the adoption of it. A lot of people are using it. So we want to see what is the innovation that comes from developers' mind, like where all you could use it and how you could dig deeper into it. I think that's what we are looking at.
Okay. For IT leaders, any suggestions, Anand, Rajat?
So yeah, for IT leaders, it's all about choices. I think as an IT leader, the biggest thing that you really need to figure out is the choice. You have so much technology at your disposal, and each of them, always competing to be the technology that we should be using. So we'd like to actually hear how they've actually made those choices to build something very, very innovative. Now, whether that could be something like what Norman was saying, how do you take a decision between what should be low code and what should be no code? We actually encourage them to tell us about their experiences, or something like what should be in chatbots had a lot of hype, still have a lot of traction, but where do they see that usage now segmenting? Are they a replacement for mobile apps? I don't know, but I'd like to get their thoughts. Where do we see each of them having their own space? I hear a lot about multi-cloud as a strategy. In every engagement that I do, I'd like to hear how do they perceive. Is it important, or because the moment the engagement starts, it starts becoming everything has to be one cloud managed.
Really?
So as you get down into the details, the multi-cloud starts appearing in quite a few cases. But I really want to understand, is that really important now with clouds having more and more regions? So what kind of thought process do they have? What maturity levels do they have? So it's a question of choices and innovation that
I think another part which is important is especially for the IT leaders, if they can be talk about some of the problems they were solving, the domain side. Yes. I think that context can really be very helpful.
Yeah. Okay. And so what is there in it for each of these stakeholders when they participate in this? Well, I mean, a lot of credibility gets built, is it? What is your sense?
Oh yeah, I think if you come out with some great ideas, you can really, as Gandhali was saying, that people will find you. Right. I mean, we've been using GitHub for that. So you can actually find people in different parts of the world who have that kind of knowledge, or in-depth knowledge, especially when you're trying to solve a problem across the world in different regions. Sometimes you really need somebody nearby, to talk to us, and even for hiring. So yeah, it has a huge upside.
You've seen Gandhali, Norman, Rajat, anybody, you've seen active bloggers getting ahead in their careers faster than others?
Oh, without a doubt. I think that's something.
Without a doubt.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Yeah, active bloggers, contributors, the people who go talk in communities. I think it's not only visibility. It's, as Anand said, it's credibility. Because when you are so confident about going and talking about something or writing about something, that means you have done it, right? You can't just talk about it or write about it. So I think it builds a lot of credibility when you go and share your learnings with the world out in the open. I think that is a very good attitude from a even from a team perspective. You want people like that who would come and do something and share it with people. So I think there are a lot of skills that you can measure when you see people who do all these things.
Absolutely.
I was speaking with a few days back, and one thing that everybody seemed to echo is that you learn something, but when you try and teach it to somebody else, that's when you learn the most, right? And that's something that our community has echoed. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. I know we just have a few more minutes left. Shilpa, anything?
No more questions.
So I just wanted to ask, just to get back to the whole point. I mean, some tips. Would you, Gandhali, you mentioned timing. What's the best time is normally?
Okay, don't hold me to it. Okay,
Okay.
I heard it by the people who have done it that they generally do it like you write the blog, but you schedule it to go out on Monday morning. You never do it on a weekday evening, though you have written it on a weekend evening. Again, don't hold me to it because I have never tried it. But it seems that Monday morning when people come back to work and if they see something relevant, they're still not out of their weekend. So there is a good chance that they will go read the whole thing versus seeing it on a Friday because they already want to start their weekend. And I mean, I know it sounds very, very, surplus, but it is, these are the things that I've heard that, the timings, the dates, like the days, this is all important.
Okay.
Sujit, there's one question. This is from Mrigang Pillai. How important is it for blogging for techies in their careers where technical skills are valued a lot?
How important? Yeah.
Blogging for techies, so that it adds value to the resume. What Gandhali was making a point early on.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. No, what Gandhali, you want to just emphasize that again?
I mean, as I said, blogs and even in my resume, I have written down the blogs that I have written and my GitHub account link. It's still there, though I don't do a lot of coding now, right? But I think it's another validation. So I'm not saying if you don't blog, you will not get hired. You will go through the interview process and you will still get there. It's just an additional thing. It's just the thing that will get you a mile ahead of somebody else. And as I said, it's a credibility builder and it's a lot of validation builder because you improve your skills while blogging. So I think it's a really good habit to cultivate, to contribute to the community and blog about it, talk in the community. It all helps.
Is there anything by way of structuring your blog? What should come first? Anything like that? In journalism, we are told, I mean, put the newsy bit right in the beginning and all that. Of course, and each paragraph must, of course, try and make sure that the person will go from one paragraph to another and all that. Anything, Norman? Any structuring ideas?
See, one thing that's critical is, a blog is a serious investment of time for the reader. So the reader at the start should be very clear in terms of what are they going to get if they read the entire blog, right? So that has to be clear. Obviously, we're not looking at a hook, 10 things sort of hooks at the start of the blog, but it does make sense to make it very clear to the reader in terms of what they can expect to gain out of it, right? And you write about topics that you're passionate about, right? And I think your passion is going to get reflected on the content that you write versus some content that you just wrote, just to fill up stuff, right? It's critical that you're passionate about stuff.
Yeah, I totally agree with
from
that.
a tech perspective, I think it's very relevant that when you write about stuff, ensure that you have architecture diagrams or code snippets, which make it easier for the end user to understand exactly what are the steps you went through. What does the architecture look like, right? So at least when it comes to technical stuff, it's not just words. I mean, the picture part does add a lot of value to the technical depth of the blog.
I'll also add to that, Norman. I have seen this, that if you are writing that kind of blog where you're putting code snippets and such, right, and doing architecture, it also helps putting the link to your code repository wherever it is. Because if people want to really go, and if it is an open source, publicly open code, I think it really helps because then people know that you have really done it. And I have followed that practice when I have written blogs about code. I have also added a link to my code repo to see, okay, this is where the entire code lies of whatever I've written about.
Yeah, no, very interesting stuff. Yeah, even I find if I really know the subject well, I can write it almost effortlessly and pretty quickly. Otherwise, yeah, research. Blah, blah, blah. So we are out of time. For some final comments from each of you, who wants to? Anand, one final message to our audience.
Well, yeah. So really, will encourage everyone, who's listening to it to come in and try on our platform. I think this effort never goes waste.
Rajat?
Yeah, from my side, do give it your best. Be sincere. Show your passion. I think it will reflect. So, and you will truly discover. Even there are first timers who want to experience first time. You will truly discover, and you might just fall in love with it. Try doing that.
Norman?
Yeah, I love to encourage everybody to go and actually give it a shot. I mean, we would love to see the ideas that people come up with. So absolutely encourage everyone to go ahead and actually contribute to the platform.
Gandhali?
I'm going to reiterate what Norman said earlier. Pick a topic which you are passionate about. That is what will bring the best out of you. So and do a research around it, do some background, see if there are any other blogs that have been written, what is new that you are offering through your blog. But I think being passionate about the topic is the key.
Absolutely. Being passionate about your topic is key, and use this opportunity. It's a great way to build your own brand, build your careers. So thanks so much, Anand, Rajat, Norman, Gandhali. Great having you on this platform and a great discussion. Like I said at the beginning, I really wish, this blogging is, it's a big, we focus a lot on career building for youngsters and all that. And I think blogging is a very important topic there. Yeah. Thank you so much for being there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sujit.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Great to
everyone.
be.
Bye.
Yeah.
All right. Take care.